All right, we're gonna go ahead and go into the fence now. The fence is, like I said, it's not terribly long because we've really touched every element already in the gate. We're gonna look at the fence itself. We're gonna read the scriptures on the fence itself. So on the fence, thou shalt make a court of the tabernacle for the south side southward. There shall be a hanging for the court of fine twined linen of 100 cubits long for one side. And the 20 pillars thereof, and their 20 sockets shall be of brass, and their hooks of the pillars and their fillets shall be of silver. Likewise, for the north side in length, there shall be a hanging of 100 cubits long, and his 20 pillars, and their 20 sockets of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. For the breadth of the court on the west side shall be hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10. The breadth of the court on the east side, eastward, shall be 50 cubits. The hanging of one side of the gate shall be 15 cubits. So this is where it's talking about, you have the gate, and you have a little piece of fence on each side of it. So right here it's saying that it'll be 15 cubits, and their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. On the other side shall be hanging of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. The length of the court shall be 100 cubits, and its breadth 50 everywhere. And the height 5 cubits of fine twined linen, and their sockets of brass. Okay, we're getting to some dimensions and other good stuff. So, 100 cubits long by 50 cubits wide and 5 cubits tall. So the north and south side would have been 150 foot long and 7.5 foot tall. The west side was 75 foot long and 7 foot 6 inches tall. The east side was the same, but that's including the gate, because the gate was 30 foot. So if you had the 30 foot, you would have had 23 foot 6 inches on each side of it to equal the full 75. The pillars were the same as the pillars of the gate, as far as what they were composed of: silver, wood, and brass. Okay, this picture, take it with a grain of salt. Those pillars were not that tall. Okay, that's just a good example of how maybe they would have set the thing up, you know. So yeah, they were the same as the gate. The hanging of the fence was all of fine twined linen. It had no colors in it. Yeah, and it doesn't say. It never actually says how much they brought with them from Egypt.
Right. Well, that's true. They could have.
So I'm sure they had to make some, but how much do they bring? You know, I mean, they don't really go into. Another thing that they mention in the Bible is they talk about the court also used pins and stakes made of brass. More likely, what I think, they don't say why, but I'm pretty sure it's for securement, because this thing was out in the desert. You probably had a lot of winds. Had to anchor this thing some kind of way. So the entire perimeter of the fence with the gate would have been about 450 feet around. The fence represents separation between God and the camp. You can almost think of the camp as the world, and entering into the outer courts would have been a person entering into salvation and their walk of sanctification. And you notice that the fence is white, and that represents righteousness, purity, and holiness. So that's what separates the world and God.
That's right.
And we're going to continue looking at some scriptures. This was for, the separation. 2 Corinthians 6:14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what accord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them, and I will walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. And I will be a father unto them, and they shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. We're going to jump to 1 Peter 1:16. Because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. As I just referenced, it was holiness that separated the world and God. Just as the fence separates the tabernacle from the camp. Jump to Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. So, and once inside the outer courts, which we'll be getting to that, actually not next week as you might think, but it'll be the next following week. That's where repentance and conversion begins, when they're going through that gate. Because you have to accept Jesus. Jesus is the gate. You have to accept that. Bring your sacrifice in. So passing through the gate of Jesus is accepting that He is the only way, that we can go to the altar and offer sacrifices unto God, and by faith in the act of the offering, or Jesus' sacrifice, we can be forgiven, accepting those things. Just as faith is the key to unlocking grace, so was faith the key to obtaining righteousness through those offerings. They had to have faith in what they were offering, or it didn't mean anything.
That's right.
So faith is still a key back then too.
That's right.
We are called to be separate from the world and to be holy because God is holy.